Good afternoon to all my kings and queens of the universe. My name is New Queen. Thank you for tuning in. Please like and subscribe to this channel for Black Smoke. And this is a channel for those who just want to get out there and want to make sure you have a friend. I need a friend. You need a friend. We all need a good person in our life. So let me be that for you and you be that for me. So like and subscribe so you can catch more videos. I'm actually on Facebook and Instagram at chocolatehoneythepodcast.com. No, it's not a website yet, but I'm speaking that into existence. Today, I just want to speak on something. So I was watching, I don't know if a lot of people watch this, but it got to be watched by quite a few people because it's still on. It's called Family or Fiance. So last night it was two people. They were quite young. The young lady was 26. The young man was 25. She had problems with her mom. And it's ironic because, let me just give you a quick backstory. I'm almost 40. My dad was in and out of my life. I finally got a good relationship with my dad once his wife passed. Rest in peace to her. And it was only because of that situation where we actually got closer. There had been some other situations that happened where I was able to see him and he was able to see me, like when I was 13, and then because he left when I was probably about 4 or 5. So I still had contact with my dad's side of the family through my uncles. Shout out to my Uncle Sherman and my Uncle Avery. I love you. So I still had, some relationship with my dad's side of the family and my cousins throughout that time period. Then when I was 19, I got pregnant with my daughter. I did see him a couple times. And throughout that time of me being in relationships with my daughter's father and my son's father, which they are 8 years apart, I was able to build somewhat of a relationship with my dad. And then when his wife got sick several years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago, I went over to actually help. I was like a home health aide, if you will. And I did get paid for it through the company and whatnot, but he wanted to make sure he had somebody that he trusted or whatever. So that was cool. Still to this day, I still don't even know what made him think of me because I hadn't heard from my dad in quite some time. And he actually had to go through my uncle to get to me. Just goes to show he didn't have a way to contact me. With that being said, when she passed away, it was a new way for us to build on our relationship, and that's what we did. And so, I would see my dad a lot on Saturdays. We'll have a drink, and we'll go to the gas station. He'll put gas in my tank. And throughout these years, my dad had met maybe 3 or 4 people that I was dating at the time. He didn't really care for any of them, which is cool. So this past week, I actually had a hair appointment. Hence, got my braids done. Braids by Braids and Glamour by Jaleesa. She's really cool, very fast, very good at what she do. So neither here nor there. I had an appointment for my hair at 9 o'clock. And I was actually picking up my dad from work, and I would take him home. And I was doing this for about 2 weeks because his car had some problems. And with that being said, he actually let his car sit because I was taking him back and forth to work. Besides just getting it picked up and getting it towed and getting it looked at, which could have saved me time and money, and I could have been able to get my truck fixed. Hence, I needed, some work done to mine. But neither here nor there, back to the appointment day. So I had a hair appointment, braids at 9 o'clock this morning. I picked my dad up. He actually knew about the appointment. I told him about the appointment. And he also knew that my truck needed to be looked at because the only reason he actually made this appointment with the car people was because I told him that I really need to put mine in the shop. The brakes had been squeaking and all this other type of stuff. So once I say that, he says, well, I'm going to call Dan and we're going to get my car to the shop and all this. I'm like, I thought your car was already in the shop. All this time it was sitting in his garage, unbeknownst to me. Okay. Back to the appointment day. So I go to pick him up that morning from work, and it's about 8-something, 8:15-ish around there. My dad, of course, he had to stop somewhere. So I take him there. And I take him to pick up his vehicle. And my thought process was, because my dad knew I had problems with my vehicle, I would think that he would let the man know, because I had went to this guy before. He knows my dad. He's a really good mechanic. I had been to him maybe a year and a half ago when I had my other truck. So by my dad knowing that I had problems with my truck, I would think not only that I had problems with my truck, and I had to get to an appointment by 9 o'clock. At this time, I only had 17 minutes. Okay. When we get to the mechanic shop, I only had 17 minutes. So, besides my dad, instead of my dad actually talking to Dan about my problem and just letting him know, like, hey, my daughter needs to talk to you real quick. She has an appointment at 9 o'clock. You could talk to me after you talk to her, because I could drive off with my car, but she has an appointment at 9 o'clock. This is my thought process that he would do for me because of the time constraint that we were in. He didn't do that. That was too much like right. For me, it felt like, okay, my dad is not protecting me again. Not only have you been in and out my life, but you choose to do that. And it made me feel unprotected. Like, you won't have my back. Like, you just want me out here. You really just had me out here picking you up, dropping you off, and didn't really give a fuck about my schedule, my time. And you waited almost 2 weeks to get your car into the shop, knowing that my car had already needed to go to the shop before yours. Okay? So, because my truck had been squeaking literally for the last couple months. Simple as that. Got the front and back brakes done, but I still didn't know why it was squeaking. So, with that thought process being in my head, that you would sit up there and have a whole conversation with him, knowing that I have to be at this place at 9 o'clock, I felt a little slighted. I felt curbed. Like, why would you do that to me? So, goes back to the Family and Fiance episode. The young lady had a situation with her mom where she didn't feel protected by her mom. And the young man's mother actually made a comment as a parent, that she said, as a parent, you want to be able to protect your kids, and you want your kids to feel safe enough to come to you and talk to you. That's exactly how I felt. I'm like, it's amazing that this is happening right now, that I'm listening to this right now. And I just had the same type of situation with my dad, you know, and it did make me feel a certain type of way. So I decided to talk to him about it today. And instead of him actually listening to me and hearing me out, I was called impatient, and I was told that I interrupted him. However, once I broke it down and I'm like, Dad, you're still not hearing me. Like, you're telling me I was impatient, but you're still not hearing why I chose to interrupt you and why you feel like I was being impatient. When it all breaks down, for me, it breaks down to this. It was one simple gesture that you could have made, and this conversation would never have to be had. That's how I felt. We all go through things. We all have situations. But I feel like if I'm in a situation with someone that I love and I care about, and I feel like they love and care about me, I should be able to talk to you about what I feel uneasy about, or the dis-ease. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was dis-easing to me, to know that you would sit up there and fully communicate your problem, knowing that I had a situation that I had to get to. You know what I'm saying? So, neither here nor there. I still was able to get to my appointment a few minutes early because she wasn't too far from where the mechanic was. And that was a blessing. Everything worked out. However, it was the principle. And for me to be able to explain that to my dad today, after I had to break it down to him in layman's terms, because he got really upset. He got really defensive, and I told him it's not good for you to get defensive. We all have our own feelings. We're all validated in that, and nobody can tell us how to feel. So all I'm doing is being a grown woman right now, telling you how I feel because you're my dad. And I felt like I should have been able to do that. And at the end of the conversation, I think he understood, you know what I'm saying? And that's all I really wanted, for him to understand. And then I just bust out, like, let's just have a picnic with the kids, you know what I'm saying? My dad, my kids, let's just have something. I'll throw something on the grill, you know? And we did end up having a decent conversation, more so after that. And I felt like he did understand me. But it was amazing because it was a moment where I had to leave him in my truck. So I had to pick him up this morning from the place where he had to drop his car off at. So I had to pick him up from that place, and I had to leave him in my truck for a few minutes while I went into the store. And I felt like it kind of sank in at that time. So with that being said, I just want people to know, like, I'm almost 40 and I'm still going through issues with both of my parents, and just explaining myself and trying to make sure I don't keep something going through generations. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to have this conversation, or my kids to have this conversation with me. I want to be able to be open-minded. I know I'm going to have my obstacles and things like that, but I want to be able to be there, be present for my kids, and understand where they're coming from and the feelings that they're having. Even if I don't understand, I want to be there for them to be able to express that to me. And even at this time, my kids be putting me in my place. I'm not afraid to admit that. That's just what it is. And we have to be open to the fact that they see us in a different light than we see ourselves. And that's very prevalent to me. It means a lot to me that my kids can talk to me and I can talk to them. At this time, I'm single, and one of the reasons being is because my kids don't like me to date. They want me to be happy. However, the men I have came across are not happy worthy, at least not for me. So peace and love to everybody, and I hope this resonates and helps someone, whether you're older or younger. If you're a younger person, hopefully this will give you a way to build a platform in order to talk to your parents or a loved one who you feel is not probably hearing you. And I just want you to know that as long as you feel high vibrational about how you're feeling and you're solidified in that, no one can take that away from you. You know, it is what it is. We all are entitled to our feelings, and everyone is validated in how they feel. There's no way to justify that, you know. So, peace and love to you. Have a great weekend. Have a great week. Have a blessingful life. Peace.